Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship.
Friendship.
And welcome back to another episode of Jeff Dye's Friendship Podcast, the podcast that's not only about friendship, but it's about kindness, it's about happiness, and it's about hanging out for an hour with people I love so you can love them too. This week we have Robert Luketic in the Fortress of Solid Dudes, and this guy really is a solid dude. This episode is not only giving some good advice if you're trying to get into show business, some good advice if you're trying to chase your dreams, some good advice if you just want to know what you should do and not do when you're on a movie set when you get an opportunity. This guy is all about following your dreams and is living proof. He's got a great story, a great attitude, and he's very chill. The whole episode he's sitting like this far away from the microphone. He's just I love this guy. He's one of a kind, and I think you guys are going to like him. If you're not familiar with his work, trust me, you're familiar with his work. He directed Legally Blonde, 21, Killers, Monster-in-Law, The Ugly Truth. This guy has done so many movies. He's a great director. He, if you look at his IMDb, you're going to recognize a ton of stuff. He did 2 episodes of... Gosh, what was the name of that show? I don't remember. But there's a ton of stuff that he's been on and done and directed. And I think you're going to really enjoy this episode. If you want to watch this episode, you can go over to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Dye. And for $10 a month, you get free tickets to all my comedy club appearances. If I'm in your town, you get tickets to that. You get a meet and greet. It's like I'm wanting you to be my friend, you know? You also get to watch this podcast and stream this podcast, and you get little gifts, little cards. Once we get enough subscribers, I'm going to be streaming with people personally. So there's all of that, plus little other goodies that'll randomly pop up here and there. But go over to Patreon, subscribe. You're going to love it. If you're listening to this on iTunes, that's all free. If you are listening on iTunes, subscribe or leave a review or rate. We would appreciate that. We read all those and it makes us very happy. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, reach out to us in any way you can. That'd be great. Otherwise, just enjoy this episode and know that me and Tony Reavis love you. And we're in. And we're already doing a big intro for you so they know who you are. We already talked about all that stuff. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, pleasure. Good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I had Anna Camp
Yeah.
on here, which was super fun. She's the best.
We both had Anna Camp. No, just kidding. But the other day, she came in to do ADR for the film that you and I worked on. So that's what I mean by that statement.
Yeah, it's good to clarify after that.
I like
sentence.
to clarify, yes.
Oh, yeah, she's probably happy you clarified too since she's married.
Yeah. Oh, she is?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Barely.
Yeah.
No, she's the best. But we were talking just about how, like, your vibe. You have the best, like, energy where, like, you know you're in charge, or, like, as an actor dealing with you, we know you're in charge, but also you're fun. I feel like it's a little bit of both. It's like sometimes you work with someone and they're all fun, or sometimes you work with someone and you're like, I wish they'd be more fun. They're kind of like just a little too much business. I feel like you play that line perfectly. Yeah. Where I felt like I knew I could be playful with you, but also like we're working, so don't screw off.
And I just got to tell listeners, you're actually a really good actor.
Thank you.
And that when I actually bought you the scene to show you today that you're in. You're really funny.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing. Have you done comedy before? I mean...
yeah, I must have tried. I've tried to get into comedy before.
No, but you know, I think my philosophy when I work, we're making comedy, so it has to be fun. I want to make a thing where it's fun, but I also want some kind of structure because it's, you know, we can't all be free and we all can't be the boss.
Right.
Know? But,
which must be the thing with actors all the time is they're always... In my opinion, being a comedian first and an actor second, like I feel like sometimes actors forget that they're not all of it. if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
the writers are a huge part of it.
Right.
The directing is a huge part of it. The shots are a huge part of it. All those things. And yes, the actor has to like do all those things, but they're like, oh, we should do it this way. And you're like, oh, well, that's kind of not the vision of what like so many actors will just chime in.
But you know, as you know, like it's a very collaborative medium.
Yeah.
And I'd be shooting myself in the foot if I didn't take like a suggestion. I'll take a good idea. I don't care where it comes from.
I love that.
It can come from the guy who's making the burgers for the crew. If it's a good idea, I have the option to say, no, I don't like it. But if it's good, why not? If it's going to make the project better, I love that.
Yeah.
You know, and cast and you guys, you bring something to the table. Why wouldn't I utilize it? You know,
in comedy, someone will say afterwards, they'll be like, oh, I don't know what kind of comic you are. Do you like if I give you a joke suggestion? And it's always like from a great comedian. Like Jay Larson gave me some joke. Like Chappelle has tagged a joke from him. Like, what am I going to be like? No thanks, Chappelle.
Yeah.
I do my own stuff.
I'm good. No, I've got my own material.
I'm going to take free content, like free jokes from people that are really good. Yeah, of course I will. So I want to start with before you were doing movies.
Yeah.
So where you started and how do you do this? Like, how did you get to where you're at now?
Wow.
Because that for most people is this is not a miracle, but like you've beaten the odds in this way and you're doing what you love.
It is a miracle. I can tell you guys right now it's a miracle. I mean, I grew up in the suburbs of Sydney and I was like, I want to be I broke my leg and I couldn't participate in sports the way I wanted. So I was given a camera and I made a film.
If you wouldn't have broke your leg, what would be the sports you'd have played?
I would play soccer.
Okay.
And I would have been an amazing skateboarder. I still board a little bit.
Really?
You know, but anyway, that's
We're
another
obsessed with
life.
skateboarders. I'm obsessed with skateboarders.
It's another lifetime. I love board activities. So whether it's surfing, snowboarding, that's like a world that I just love. I would have been a pilot also. I'm a jet pilot. I fly a small jet called a Embraer Phenom.
All this is more interesting than movies.
And so that was my backup plan. If my career as a director didn't work out, I was going to go and fly for Qantas because I'm Australian and they never crash. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So I was a kid with a dream. Really, it's that simple. And I wanted to come to Hollywood and make movies. And I think, my mom was very supportive, but my dad thought I was an idiot. Like
crazy person.
How are you going to get from Concord, New South Wales to Hollywood?
And you're like, I don't know,
but I'll work it out. I'm just going to work it out. So, I went to film school, decided that I was going to make a movie for my thesis film, my final year film, that was going to be unlike anything else that they were doing. Because, when you're in film school, you make films about heroin and incest.
Right. You're like,
and it's black and white. And
but
everything's just so heavy.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? I think, let me just segue for a minute about talking about that. I think it's easy to make people cry in cinema. It's easy to be emotionally manipulative. It's hard to make people laugh.
Absolutely.
It's hard to make a large group of people laugh.
I agree.
Comedy is much harder, but we're always treated, at least in the movie business, we're always treated as kind of this sort of second kind of tier of a film.
Yeah.
We don't have the categories that the dramas have, and we don't have the sort of...
I agree
with
that.
I mean? It's
in
like
a lot
our
of ways.
skill is less. As comedians, we're less.
Show a character losing a pet, and everybody's like, "Oh, I can't." That scene broke my heart, or like, "Oh, his volleyball floated away." Like that's like these kind of things like that. Or even think of like a horror film. The reason horror films are so easy to kind of knock out, well, not easy, but the way that they're being knocked out, it's because it's easy to scare me.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to inspire someone. It's hard to make a person laugh. But scaring me, all it has to be is like some ugly thing, and I'm not expecting it with like some music like that. Like so that's why it's a fun, cheap movie. Like it's easy.
It plays on really sort of these primal things that we have as human beings,
I can scare anyone. Yeah, I can just hide in that closet and they come there. I'm gonna scare anyone.
That would scare the crap out of me. Am I allowed to say shit on this show?
You can say whatever
absolutely.
you want. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
That's the beauty of podcasts. It's they're like, oh, we don't.
I'm not really a crap kind of guy. I usually use the word shit. And I'm very happy about that.
Occasionally someone will be like, this whole Me Too movement is nonsense. And we're like, hey, we have to cut that immediately. What are you thinking? But they can say the C word. They can say bitch. They can say whatever.
Right.
Okay, so flight school. Wait, so
wait. So that was expensive. So I needed to in order to do flying, I washed airplanes and refueled them as a kid in exchange for flight lessons. So that was something I sort of... That's how I was doing that. So at the same time, but I was also making short films. So I was a very confused young man.
Well, that's like a hustle. Like that's like
right.
That's a lot of...
You have to be a hustler we have
100%.
you hustle, we
Yeah.
hustle. This business is a hustle.
Yeah,
You know, show
100%.
business. Like you got to make the opportunity happen. You can't just sit there and think someone's going to find you under a cabbage patch and here, Jeff, have a movie career.
That's the clip we're using.
Yeah.
I always tell young comedians they'll get like do Last Comic Standing or they'll do something like that, and then I do the Tonight Show, and people say, "Oh, I wish I was doing the Tonight Show," and you're like, "Well, you can," and they're like, "Huh?" I was like, "What? How many times have you submitted?" They're like, "Never." It's
Right.
like,
Well,
yeah,
you have to be in it to win it.
Yeah,
Like,
you think Jimmy Fallon is pacing his office going,
Right.
"Gosh, why don't we have Jeff Dye?" No, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
I had to come to him and say, "Hey, like, here's my stuff. Do you want?" Like, that's how it works.
I've said that. People say, how do you win the lottery? Well, you start by buying a ticket.
Exactly.
Step one. How do you fulfill a dream? Like have the idea and find out what it needs and
Absolutely.
go after it.
Absolutely.
So it's literally, it's stupidly simple, but there's no secret.
Not easy, but it's simple.
It's
Yeah.
right.
So you did film school where though?
In Australia, the first film school I applied to, said that I was too young and they wanted me to come back. I applied when I was like 17 or 18 and they
Still.
said, come back when you're 27. I'm like, I'm going to wait 10 years to get into your school.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
So
ridiculous.
I said, see you later. So I went to the other
What was
national...
their idea on that? Like, oh, he hasn't even had life
Maturity,
experiences.
That's exactly the word they used in the letter in which they declined me attending. So I applied for the other national. We have two amazing film schools, one in the two big cities, Sydney and Melbourne. I applied for the one in Melbourne and got in immediately.
It's great.
They only take 13 people a year.
I wonder if you would
paid
apply
to
when you're
be
27, they'd be like, he's too old.
Well, then there you go.
What is going on?
Right. So anyway, big mistake on their part, but no, I'm just
It
kidding.
was a big mistake on their part. And also, not to mention, sure, 27 maybe hasn't done as many things as other people just by the numbers purely. However, it also, a 17-year-old hasn't been jaded. They haven't been like beaten down and told certain things. They haven't learned these like silly, hacky social ideas like, well, work is a job.
That's
you know?
insane.
And I was
You can
very
love your work.
film literate from the age of 14. I was editing and making my own stuff. So
That's so. I'm
do you know what I mean?
27 now, and like to
Right.
think of like I would have to wait until now.
Right.
I feel like I've done a lifetime of
Yeah.
stuff already. You know,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
and it's like that's
Exactly.
insane. Yeah.
So
Just got in there.
by the time I did Legally Blonde when I was 27. So you know what I mean. So
If you'd have waited.
you know, if I waited, I wouldn't be in the same place that I am now. So that's life. You know, that's what I think so amazing and inspiring about all of this. That you just strap in and
Do you
and go.
think that did the film school help you in Sydney like know the ladder of like, oh, here's what I will do next?
No,
No.
they were useless. No, there was no help. No, I realized that I had to stand out. I realized that I had to make it happen for myself. So I was very strategic. I graduated with not hundreds of thousands, multiple thousands of dollars in debt.
Yep, that's college.
And went and worked. So I said, well, where can I find out what people are doing? How are people advancing in this career? So I went and got a job as a receptionist at the Film Commission, which was the government funding body for motion picture industry in Australia. So while I'm sitting at the reception desk, I'm getting to know everyone that works in the building.
Smart.
And I'm sending them VHS tapes of my short and...
The one for your thesis.
Right.
Nice.
Called Tiziana Bubarini.
Okay.
It's not a porno. It's...
Sorry, Tone.
Yeah. It's a...
No
it's
interest.
a story about an Italian girl with a hairy lip. She has a mustache. And it was a musical. I made a 10-minute musical, 3 big musical numbers. And I thought, like, okay, I'm going to really stand out. I shot it in Technicolor. It was shot on anamorphic 35 millimeter.
You wrote the songs and all that?
Yeah. And so
Wow.
we do this and it gets into Telluride Film Festival. From there, I get the agent, the manager, publicist. Basically, I was just instant career bump.
Yeah, you're like, why am I
and
at
a
this
year later,
desk?
I'm doing, yeah. And then a year later, I'm working for MGM and doing a movie called Legally Blonde. So that was weird, right? I never got to do the indie route, which is so weird. I'm doing everything in reverse now.
Yeah.
I just finished a project I'm working on with you, Jeff, called The Wedding Year, and we did that for like $4 or $5 million,
Yeah.
which is usually like my salary. But I'm kidding. So that's like really interesting that I've done that the other way around.
But that's, I think a lot of people, and I guess I'm speaking for other people, but I feel like a lot of guys do that. They do get the big projects to make the money and the budget, and then they do the things they want to do.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, that's been great.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a freedom that comes with the smaller budgets.
And so I wrote down some of the ones that people might know is like Ugly Truth,
yeah, fun,
Legally Blonde,
fun.
21.
Way fun.
Yeah, I got to do a Vegas movie, like a poker movie, or not poker, but like a gambling movie.
I love Boston. I spent a year between Boston and Las Vegas, and it was a good time. It was a really good time.
I would love to hear what you like so much about Boston. Killers.
Am I walking into something?
No, not at all. Just like I know so many people who go to like Boston for comedy or they go to whatever, and they're like, oh, the more you travel the world, the less Boston falls on your list. Like Boston seems to fall lower and lower. Oh, you love it?
I'm down Massachusetts, and I have having a love affair. It's good.
I like that. Monster-in-Law.
Yes, a lot of fun. I got to see hang out with J-Lo. Went to her wedding.
That's
saw her
insane.
Without clothes on. I mean, she's a pretty wonderful woman.
Yeah, she sent. That's a good question for us right here.
I have to tell you. Yeah, I have to tell you. You know, she invited me to her wedding. I didn't know it was her wedding. I'm a nice Australian boy, and I thought, she says, it's going to be a barbecue at my house this weekend. Why don't you just come over? So I put some board shorts on and some flip-flops, and I turn up and like her whole family's there. Mark Anthony's there. She's getting married to Mark Anthony. And I'm like, whoa, this is
This
wedding. And
isn't a barbecue?
I'm dressed like a bum.
No, she said barbecue. That's her fault.
Because she wanted to keep everything secret, I guess. We didn't really know each other that well, and she didn't know what I was going to tell people.
Sure.
Because it was like a big secret. Anyway, so I storm into her bedroom. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like standing there getting into her wedding dress with no clothes on. So it's a vision I'll never forget.
Yeah, I imagine. That's fantastic. What did she say? She's like, sorry, don't worry about it. You look great. I'm sure she's all positive.
Yeah. So there's like, a few drinks later, I'm dancing on the dance floor in flip-flops and board shorts.
Wow. I imagine everyone was like, that guy's fun.
He's Australian. Don't worry about it.
That is the beauty of comedians, though, is that like, I don't know how many times I've been to like, I'm trying to remember what that place is. Some, Chateau. No, it couldn't have been that place. There's some famous place where they cut the food off of swords and all that stuff. There's a restaurant, it's like a nice restaurant when I first moved to LA. Fogo de Chao or something like that. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, is it like that Brazilian meat place?
Yeah. And
like just meat.
Yeah, well, all my agents wanted to go there. They're trying to like wine and dine me, impress me, not knowing I don't even eat meat.
Right.
And so like they go there.
Wait, are you vegan?
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so I'll eat eggs and stuff. But... So they're cutting all this crap off and like doing this whole thing, and it's me in like 13 suits. Like they're just all like in suits, and the guy was really hesitant to like let me in. And at the time, I had like way longer hair, and I was wearing like just junk clothes, like baggy jeans. I look like dog shit. And I keep going up to the salad bar to get stuff, and Donald Faison comes over, and he goes, "Hey, what's up, man? How you good?" We've never met. He was just like, if they let a guy in who dressed like that, he must be in show, like an actor. And I went back. I was like, the guy from Scrubs just talked to me, and like, I think he thought he knew me. And it was just such.
Why is it that people in our business can get away with looking like crap?
I don't know.
Only in our business, but I love it. I mean,
I love that I can be casual, and everyone's like, oh, what's his deal? But maybe people were thinking that at our wedding. Oh, this guy must be like the fun neighbor or something. Just came over.
I don't know what they thought. I just was like the random Australian guy, like drinking beer and dancing on her dance. I mean, it's so weird. That was a weird thing. So anyway, yes, Monstrum, a lot of fun.
So you've worked with so many incredible actors just from these films.
Right. And you now.
Well, yeah.
I mean, seriously, you're very funny.
Thank you very much.
We've showed it to several audiences. I just want everyone to know this. When Jeff comes on screen, we get a lot of laughter.
Oh, that makes me very happy.
So
Thank
it's really
you.
Good. It's a good
me
scene.
and Anna were joking. It's like, listen, the world wants that movie. You know, how did me and her character meet? You know, like that's we were just joking about that on set, and like Sarah Hyland was like rolling her eyes. It's like, trust me, that's all everyone's talking about on the internet. And Sarah's like, I'm sure. She talked to me like twice, and both times just hated me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like for real. Me and Anna talked about it too, because like I was like, dude, between
I love
Anna and Robert, like I was very happy, and then like whenever I was around Sarah, I was just like, I don't know if it's my stupid face or if I look like a guy that like dumped her or something in her old.
No.
She loathed me. It was, and Anna's like, I don't know, she's having a lot of headaches. I was like, I don't think that's it. She didn't seem to have a headache around you, but just
oh my god, I wouldn't say loathe, but I don't know.
I can be annoying. I'm very smiley. I'm like jovial. I don't like,
I thought you were awesome. Anyway,
well, thank you.
The crew loved you, so there you go.
Thank you. Okay, so out of these movies, that's why that brings me to this question. Have you heard of the game Fuck, Marry, Kill? Do you know this game?
Yeah, no. But
you have three people, and you have to choose which one you would sleep with, which one you would marry, and which one you would kill.
Okay.
We did it the other day. I would marry Ryan Gosling, I would fuck Brad Pitt, and I would kill Gerard Butler.
Got it.
That's pretty easy
Love
because
it.
that system, that's
Got
pretty
it.
obvious.
I'm down.
But we've picked people from your films.
Tell me.
You have to have sex with one, marry one, and kill one. Sarah Hyland,
Right?
J-Lo,
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl.
Jeffrey.
They won't take it personal. There's only 3 options.
Right. Well, I think I'd have to marry J-Lo.
Okay. We're on the same page so far.
Yeah, we're all on board.
We're all on board.
I'll have to sleep with Sarah Hyland because we are currently involved in a movie.
Yes.
And I'd like to just know what that would be like.
Yeah.
So I guess Katherine, because you haven't actually texted me in a while. Yeah, damn it.
Oh, really?
So
She's
there
getting
you go.
killed.
Yeah.
What is she like?
Sorry, honey.
She seems like a delight.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problems with Katherine.
Yeah.
I mean,
she gets a bad rap.
Yeah, but that's I can't. I'm not privy to what goes on outside of it, but I know just as a professional actor, we did 2 movies together.
Yeah.
We did a movie in the south of France with Ashton Kutcher. I think to me she's awesome, but I guess some people have problems with it, but I haven't.
That's the hardest part about our
haven't,
business, I think, is sometimes people will just hate someone for no reason at all. They'll just go, there's something about him. Like my mom's like that.
I can only speak about my experience with her, and it's been awesome. We used to be neighbors. I consider her a friend. I visited her in Utah. I mean, so there's nothing. I don't really want to kill you, Katherine, but it's just. J-Lo's plane is
just
bigger.
part of the game.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
J-Lo has a bigger jet than you, so I'm smart. So I'm thinking about marrying well and doing all those sort of things.
Well, I always think with these games, like I answered too quick. I'm like, yeah, dude, kill me. Like people were like, Jesus, like, do you have a problem with Katherine Heigl? You're like, no, just
no.
Process of elimination.
Oh, mine was marry J-Lo, have sex with Katherine Heigl, and kill Sarah Hyland. And that's not personal.
That's
not personal.
Just because she doesn't like you.
Yeah, it wasn't. There was no like pally reciprocation, What was the next thing I was going to ask? Oh, do you have any pet peeves when you're working on these projects that like actors will do? And this might be helpful for actors that listen or whatever. Like, what is a big pet peeve you have?
Wow.
That they shouldn't do, except something they should know.
Something they should know. I don't.
Because you said you like suggestions.
Yeah.
Punctuality? Is there?
Yes.
That's a big.
It would have to be preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very prepared. I know what I'm doing pretty much 99.9% of the time. And if you've come to set and you don't really know what you're doing that day, or you haven't even given it any thought or prepared, that kind of pisses me off.
Of course.
Because there's like 150, 200 crew people all around working really hard. And then for you to get upset because you don't know what you're doing, it's just not my problem. Take a pill, go to your trailer, learn your lines, and come back.
That's fascinating too. That you say go back.
I believe it's a partnership.
Sure.
Me and the cast, we form one of the most important partnerships in a movie. But it's a 2-way deal, and I'll be prepared and I'll know my stuff. You have to know your stuff too. It's very rarely happened though.
Yeah.
But when it has, it's been very noticeable.
You trust that, like that they know you're going to be doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You want to know what,
Right.
So for life,
and I also don't like, can I have one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
The biggest one, and I've had some extraordinary examples, which I don't know if I can tell you about in this.
Or leave the names out.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it when we turn the mic.
There we go.
Is manipulating the director to like or not like another co-star or another performer.
Interesting.
So there's this sort of power play that can go on, like who's the favorite and who has the ear of the director, if you will.
Ah, that's interesting.
And that can be very uncomfortable because to me, they're all equal. They're all these wonderful instruments who bring, the story that I'm working on to life. So to be involved in this sort of psychodrama, and it's really high schooly, and it's very uncomfortable. It makes me very uncomfortable. And I've had situations where they are physically or verbally upset because I have laughed at someone harder than I perhaps laughed at them.
Wow.
So you're just damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's a real catch-22.
Yeah,
So
that's the worst.
I try and love them all. I call them like I love them all like my children. No one of you is more important or less loved or more.
Which is
loved than the
fascinating
other.
because I've talked to directors who are like, well, it goes by the call sheet. You know what I'm saying? Like if A doesn't like F, then that I gotta choose A, which is a very
Sure.
sports mentality. You know, like there was like a baseball scenario once where Bryce Harper and Jonathan Papelbon got into like a fist fight in the dugout.
Right.
And the next day, the manager, there's this great article about how he's like, what am I gonna do? Am I going to lecture my star player that I pay like hundreds of millions on? No, I'm going to lecture my old reliever who's like literally maybe not even going to get a starting position next season.
Right.
He's wrong. No matter what, he's wrong. No matter what.
I'm much more of a like I want to bring sort of harmony. So
I love that.
I want everyone. I'll have these when it's been at its peak or its worst. I will have reached enough, and I'll call a summit in my trailer, and I'll call all the parties in, and I say this has to stop.
You're going to be successful the rest of your life.
Sometimes
so you know.
you just need to do that, and sometimes all it takes is just for us to get to know each other a
Right.
bit more. Just be respectful. You know, just be respectful. Remember, this is a job. We're not in a playground. This is a place of work. Keep it professional. If you hate the person, go home and scream and rant and do whatever you want. Don't drag me into your psychodrama.
Right.
I'm just here to work, and I'm here to make a movie, and that's all I want everyone to focus on.
Well, I feel like in my like philosophy on things is always like, if we're all friends, it's going to be better. So like the first TV project.
Hang on, Jeff. It's show business, not show friends. I'm sure you've
agree
heard
with
of
that.
that before.
But it
I
sounds
don't care
like
that we're
those-
not friends, but I just want them to be professional. There's one you can hate. I can hate your guts, but
Yeah.
I'm professional. I'm doing this podcast because someone told me that I had. No, I'm kidding. Do you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but I think when people go, "Hey, I'm here to work, not make friends," like I've heard that like a bunch of times, it makes it sound like they're mutually exclusive. I
Right.
believe we can be both, and if we
course.
can't, we need to be professional.
Exactly.
However,
exactly.
it's like saying like, "Hey, I'm here to work, not take a lunch break." You're like, you get both. You're
Yeah.
gonna get a lunch break, and
Yeah.
and also, I'm gonna work better if I'm with my friends. I'm gonna work better. So like, same with sports. Like when Shaq and Kobe are getting along, they're winning championships. The second they're being pouty little brats and like not getting along with each other and calling each other names, and no coach is saying, "Hey, both your egos need to stop and we need to get a job done." Everything works better when we're gelling, when we're all friends. First show I ever did was a show called Money from Strangers. First show I ever made and like
Right.
put on TV. And me and Rob Anderson had this like real fun concept that Ellen started doing better. And that's why we didn't get a third season. But I would overshoot for him every single day as the host. We would shoot for like 14 hours. And I was happy to shoot for him because Rob's my friend. And
Right.
like, so in a weird way, he was able to like kind of take advantage of that fact that we were
Right.
friends because I wanted it to be great. He wanted it to be great. However, I've worked on certain projects where I'm like, nope, I think that's been 7 hours. You know, like I get a
We're done.
meal. Yeah, I don't want to do this. But like for him, because I love him, I want to work harder and better for him. But
Yeah.
this jumps into your personal life. What's your biggest pet peeve in personal life?
Impatient people.
Impatient.
Yeah. People that are impatient. I'm not the most like organized kind of guy, and so to live with me I imagine is difficult. But all I ask for is just patience.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm a director, I'm a pilot. My brain operates in different ways.
Yeah.
It's,
What is it called when you're like an artist? Is it left brain or right brained?
I don't know.
Left-brained.
Mine's kind of all mashed together. It's kind of like a more of a pile of brain matter
Yeah.
up in there.
Mine
So
is all left.
mine is all left. Yeah.
I can't spell anything, but like
Right.
I can paint, I can draw, I can,
Right.
you know, any arts, which, you know, I thought I was going to be doomed to be broke my whole life. And I was like,
Right.
no, and it turns out the arts pays a lot if you go to the right areas of the world.
Yeah, I just want understanding for my, slightly unique way of living life. I
What's your
guess.
biggest pet peeve, Tone?
Yeah.
Mine's very specific because I'm very large, so people just assume I'm a big teddy bear, which I am.
Right.
But like people just like hanging off of me all the time.
Aaron always does
They
that.
just want to like put their arm.
Yeah,
around
I'm just
you.
like, okay, but then like I go to a bar or whatever, and people are drunk, and they like put their arm around me, and like I'm like, get off! Like,
I'm not the teddy bear.
yeah, like I am a nice sweetheart.
I
But
think you're projecting. I do this to you all the time. I'm a very pawy guy. I'm always touching you.
yeah, no, that's different. People like literally like arm around me, like leaning on me,
Oh,
like
okay.
hanging on me, like I'm like, get off! I'm
Not your Uber.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think of it, my real pet peeve is people touching my nipples.
Really?
So,
yeah, that's a big one. Happens all the time.
I need to get more serious here. That's actually really, I hate it.
Yeah, it's the worst.
And it really bugs me. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
the
like it's
worst.
in between tickle and weird and like get out.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing.
No
This
one
is
likes
not
to be
sexy.
tickled.
This is my favorite.
It's not sexy. It's not good. I don't want
Yeah,
it.
I'm a
Yeah.
guy. They're not hooked up.
No.
You know, they're not.
It doesn't work
not
for me
doing
in that,
anything
in
for
that
me.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
so don't.
My
Like,
biggest
just leave
pet
it
peeve
alone.
of all time is when people say depends.
Yeah.
If I go crazy. It triggers something in me. So if we're at a restaurant, I'm like, hey, what's like popular here? What's like the thing of this
it
restaurant?
depends.
And they're like, oh, it depends. Everything depends. What are you just buying time? Like that's like saying nothing. Oh, it depends. I know it depends. Or like, oh,
Everything.
yeah, it's just you're just stalling. Even if you lied, I'd rather you lie to me than say depends. It drives me bonkers. The other one is it's very similar actually. When we were at IKEA, we were trying to buy this table or a table like this. This one's not from IKEA, but we started at IKEA.
Which was a
and
mistake.
I went, yeah, we turned into a couple immediately.
It always looks so great on the showroom floor, but
Yeah.
that's as good as it ever
cheap.
looks.
Well, and also like just IKEA is full of couples like fighting. You know, like the guy doesn't want to be there, and the girl's like, "Should we get a light color wood or a dark?" And he's like, "I don't give a
Should
shit."
we get
Just-
the ingwer or the almond? Like, I don't give a flying whatever.
And
Just
we
get
walked in
one.
and immediately turned into a couple. Like I
Yeah.
just started like nagging him for no
was like,
reason.
"No,
I was
that
like,
one
let's
sucks,
get
Jeff."
out of here. So I go up to the thing.
And then the confusing layout where you get
Yeah.
lost
We
in
got
this miasma
so lost.
of like Swedish
letters
stuff,
and numbers, and you're like,
numbers and candles and like little buckets of things and
cheap
just like
fake plants and stuff.
just,
Yeah.
it's like a thing, isn't it?
So I went up to the girl.
it's
I
actually
said, hey.
triggering. You're triggering something.
Yeah, it
inside.
makes it gives me anxiety going.
Anyway, it was a
I
bad
drove by it
experience.
the other day.
Yeah. So
And-
anyway,
so we're there.
you then not get
found a
where
table
you
we
didn't
liked.
get this. This is not the table.
No, this is a-
Got
But
it.
we found a table that we liked.
got it.
It isn't there.
Oh, of course.
So
Half of it's there. You know how you have to
That's
get like
right.
the pieces? It had like the
And
legs.
when can we get the other half? In 12 weeks. we
Yeah.
should be
Oh,
able to get
I
it
go
through.
up to her and I say, "Hey, do you have any more of these? Like, is there a back or something?
Of
Do you
the
have another
Ingmar
one of
legs
these?"
of the Ungewoge legs.
yeah.
And she goes, "Well, we can order it." I know we can. I can
Yes.
order it. I have the internet. We all have the internet. I can order
I'm here,
anything I want.
And I wanted the table.
I came to your location because I want the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And that
could have
happens at
ordered it
Nordstrom all the
online.
time. Yeah, do you have these pants and
No,
whatever?
never
Oh,
have
we
it.
can order it. Stop telling me we can order it.
That's
I-
actually one of mine that I
Oh.
hate to. I have to say.
It's always some young 20-year-old. Like, we can order it. I know. We.
Yeah.
Oh, it
And you
drives
must
me
be
crazy.
tall. Do you have like a weird length?
Yeah,
for
I'm
your
all legs, pec to legs. Like it's
peck to leg?
pecs to
Yeah.
legs, dude.
Like that Kylo Ren picture.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt like that guy, except he had huge nipples. What's that actor's name?
Adam Driver.
I love Adam Driver.
Yeah.
You ever worked with him?
Uh-uh.
Oh, you will. He's in everything. And you do stuff,
Yeah.
and he'll be in it.
All right.
I'm telling you, I feel like he's in everything. He like back in the day, I feel like with Star Wars, actually Harrison Ford did other things. That's not true.
Yeah.
But anyways, Kylo Ren is a huge star in the Star Wars movies, and then now he's like in Black Klansman. He was in Girls First, but he's doing all these romantic comedies. Like he's in everything. I feel like
Logan Lucky. That was
Yeah.
a good.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
he did some movie about millennials with Steven or with the guy from The
Yeah.
Office. It doesn't matter. Steve Carell.
Corral.
So we got that. We got
I love
that.
your color-coded cards there.
Yeah, purple is light. Yellow is
Is that right?
information.
Not for real?
Yeah. So this is
Purple
like
is light,
information because I didn't want to forget the
information.
names of the movies.
Right.
Which this is the stupidest question you'll be asked, but you might have an answer.
No.
Out of all the projects, which one stands out to the most of you? Is like, wow, that was a really good.
Like,
I'm sure you like them all. And
like,
they're
do you
all
mean?
fun.
No, I hate my movies. You know, I never watch my movies once they're finished.
You're kidding.
Jeff, how long ago did you wrap on my movie?
I feel like it's been over a year.
Okay, how long has it been? It's been
Not quite a year.
9
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
So for
Okay.
the last 9 months since I said goodbye to you in Malibu, I've been watching this GD thing.
That makes sense.
Right.
If not thousands, and every day breaking it down into minutia. So
Yeah.
by the time the movie comes out, I'm done. I've never watched right? With the exception of that it's on in the background when I come home and someone is in the living room watching it. I've never watched one of my films. So you can ask me which is your favorite. For me, it was the experience of making it, not which is the favorite. Because as far as the film's concerned, I am done. It doesn't belong to me. Get it out of here. Get it out of my body. Get it out of my brain.
But that answer is really that you've watched it a zillion times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that you don't watch it.
I know it on a level that is unhealthy. Okay?
So when the premiere happens and the funny joke happens, do you feel the pressure to go, even though you've heard that joke a zillion times? Or do you feel like people are watching you?
You know when I do that? When we do those damn audience tests, you know, the market research stuff where we get like a test audience, and because it's so important. Yeah. That means whether your film goes straight to on demand or gets a theatrical release. It's so important, right? So I'll be sitting there going, even before the joke comes on the screen, just to encourage everyone lead people
Here's
in the
a
cinema.
Joke. This is the joke part.
Because that's amazing. And I'll be like, woo, at the end, like, you know.
I feel like I did that for Better Late Than Never when they did like the thing, because that room was stiff. The room is all like they're all network executives, and they're like, so even if they enjoy it, they're going, that's funny. Like they're not laughing.
No, they're analyzed. There's this constant analysis that goes on. But that's the thing. When you test a movie in LA, you end up with like a room full of like armchair directors. And you get the notes like if we tested in some random suburb out in Phoenix or somewhere else in like anywhere else in the country, right? But here in LA, you'll get cards like, I thought that the second turning point in the third act was rather slow. And it's like you have all these like filmmakers like telling you, it's like, whoa, wow.
It drives me crazy.
It's incredible.
I think that
just
if I
people
ever
read Save the
became
Cat, they
all
think
I
they
want to
can...
know is I want real people to see the movie and tell me, is it good? What parts don't you like? Just give me the headlines. Right. Don't. It's not a master class in directing. I don't give a fuck about your notes.
What is this character saying?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like I always think about that just in general. Like I would be the best movie critic ever because I pretty much like everything. Yeah. There's like one movie I didn't like, and I've seen like 1,000 this year. Like I didn't like Bird Box. And you know what? 90% of the movie, I did like Bird Box. I just didn't like the end. I was like, no, that's it. I wanted a monster or something. I didn't want wind.
That's interesting. You know, in a movie, you can forgive a lot, a slow beginning, a languid middle, but if they fuck up the ending, it's unforgivable.
Right. Yeah. Well, and also, that's the payoff. Like that's my invested time they've wasted. Because I was on board the entire time. I thought maybe when they got to the place, she'd have to gouge her eyes out, or she'd have to gouge her kids' eyes out, or like some sort of like monster would eat them. Some kind of
I would have loved to have seen her gouge the kids' eyes out.
Yeah, and that's the only way they could get in. She thinks she's saved, but you're not really saved. Here's your spoons. Get rid of the eyeballs. You know,
great
something.
Idea, Jeff.
I think something to give us some sort of conclusion, not just like, oh, here's a peaceful land where wind won't kill you. It's like, what?
Well, let's talk about endings. Did you see The Favorite? It's an Oscar contender. I love this director, incredible. But WTF? What's going on? The ending is like multiple images of bunny rabbits dissolving into each other. Bunny rabbits, dissolve, and then it cuts to black. I need you to see the movie, and please, can you just text me?
I would love to. What's it called?
It's called The Favorite.
I'm gonna write it down.
Beautiful performances, amazing cinematography. I think this director is awesome.
The Favorite.
Yeah.
Did you get the screener or something?
Yeah, I get all the Academy screeners.
I have all the this is the first year they've ever sent me screeners, and I've been in SAG-AFTRA for like a decade. This is the first year. Maybe I've just not paid my dues on time or something, but like when the first one came in the mail, I was like, oh, you got a screener. I was like telling my neighbor,
You've made it. You've made it.
Well, what's also funny is like the type of movies that I like is like Mad Max, Point Break. Like I love They Live, Predator.
You know about being careful with those screeners and not giving them out to friends.
Yeah, I've given them to nobody.
You know, there's sometimes I think they say that your name or some sort of identification is coded inside the movie somehow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if that thing gets out and it's duplicated, they can actually trace it back to you. So friends are always asking me, can I have them? And I'm like, no, because last time I gave it to you gave it to Jenny, who gave it to Sarah, and now it's in like Cleveland, Ohio.
It's at a Blockbuster Video.
It's in a Blockbuster, right? Or it's at Bali International Airport in Indonesia, like being sold on the side of the road.
I've never given them out. I've only had them for a few weeks. But the bad part about screeners is they send you these really like The Good Wife with Glenn Close and Beautiful Boy by Stephen Carell or with Stephen Carell, and I'm like watching on Netflix like Bret Hart's Boots and The Meg. You know, they're not sending those. So I'm just going like, I don't know what this is. Oh, Steve Carell, this will be funny. And it's just like a tearjerker about a little boy. I'm like, what is happening? Right. Yeah, so it's tricky. But The Favorite.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is the tell me about. I want to ask you a question.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I'd love that.
About the state of comedy.
Okay.
What is the state of comedy? Are we in a weird world right now?
We're in a weird spot now because everybody wants to talk about politics.
Mhm.
However, no audiences want to hear about politics. And so even if your take is brilliant, even if your take is very funny,
Right.
it's exhausting. Not to mention...
It's just fatigue, right?
Yeah, and even when you're right, even when they agree, let's say you're the biggest Donald Trump supporter in the world, however that would work in your brain. If the comic is doing Trump material, pro-Trump material that's very funny, that person is even like, do we have to? Like, I spend all day
Right.
defending this or what?
Right.
And on the other side of the coin, too. Whereas in other political climates, like it was, if you could do a good Obama joke or an anti-Obama joke if it was good, like in any city. But now people are just tired of it.
But I feel like I specifically want your opinion. You very much work on the front line. You are a stand-up comedian, which I call that the front line of comedy. Do you think that comedy is somehow being restricted, somehow being censored? Do you feel like something different?
Yeah, it feels different now than it's ever felt.
I'm feeling, as a director of comedy, I'm feeling it.
Well, and also one thing so I'll give you an example of a movie that did comedy perfectly. Django Unchained.
Right.
And why I appreciate this movie is because, let me backtrack a little bit. One thing that happens is there's a lot of I hate white guys happening right now. And that worked like 4 years ago.
Right.
Where you're like, and when people first heard it, like, yeah, fuck white guys. Like that, yeah,
Right.
they're evil, they're blah, blah. But now it's becoming kind of hack. Like a comedian will get up there, like let's say she's an attractive black female comedian. She's gonna be like, these white and it feels kind of tired now. Like it's like white.
It feels almost like it goes to anger, not funny.
Right.
Like,
And the people and the men in the audience are like, we get it. We're evil. We're sorry.
Right.
Like, how are we supposed to laugh at this? We bought 2 drinks. We just want to enjoy.
and have you talked about the Gillette ad? How do you feel about that?
I haven't seen it yet. Well, actually, we should watch it, and then because it's short, right? It's like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, Django Unchained is the perfect example of how I think things should be told politically. You've got a good white guy, which is the dentist, who's just like this really good ally, and then you have an evil white guy, who's Leonardo DiCaprio, who's just evil, and he's a power-hungry, money-hungry, rich, racist man. But then you have a good black guy, Jamie Foxx, who's a slave who achieves. And then you have the evil black guy, that's Sam Jackson, which is the world we live in.
It's live.
There's good cops and bad cops. There's bad black people and good black people. There's bad white people and good white people.
It's human.
You have to tell that story.
And I always thought that comedy brought us together. It caused us to it makes us have discussions about things, but it also shows that how similar we are, really, at the end of the day. That was I found comedy to be very unifying, and now I feel I don't know, it's an interesting time. I think it's just a very interesting
that's
time for
why
me.
I think, and this sounds weird to like promote my own stuff, but I'm drawing from a totally different well. Like my comedy is all about like, man, we should be happy. Like what a beautiful time we get to live in.
Right.
Like if I want to be a woman tomorrow, I can. Like that is progress.
Right.
Like what a beautiful, we don't live in the worst times. We live in the best times.
Right.
I'll go to the Laugh Factory and I'll see, like a Muslim table of people next to a bunch of rich white Hollywood Instagram kids. And like, it's diverse. You see men holding hands. I remember like I started comedy in Seattle 14 years ago. And even in that liberal city, you would see like gay men bringing like women, like their girlfriends to sit in between them. Cause like, well, I don't want the comedian to give me a hard time. Like that is crazy. Like they're just like, I'm out and I'm proud, but I don't want the comedian to bully me because he's a comedian and I'm in the front row. That sucks. That's a sucky feeling. But now that doesn't happen now. Like you just see, so in a lot of ways it's very beautiful, but my comedy is always just like, I try to like just talk about good stuff or happy stuff, which sounds corny, but
no, it's not. I appreciate it.
I just watched Joe Rogan's special the other day, and he had a really interesting thing, and I would love to hear your take on it, where he's like, in the comedy these days, he like will tell a joke, something he thinks is funny, and then afterwards he has to go, but this is what I really think, because people will be like, oh, he said this, and this is the quote. It's like, that's the joke. This is what I really feel. And it's like they have to be 2 separate ideas now, and he has to explain, this was a joke.
We have to explain.
This is what I really feel. And like,
well, I think audiences nowadays, and this is no fault to them, it's just that we live in kind of tense, heavy
angry
times.
time.
Yeah. And so I think people nowadays would rather nod and agree than laugh.
Right.
So sometimes jokes, did I use the example of the National Lampoon's magazine already?
I think so,
I
but
use
it's
this
still a great
example a
one,
thousand
yeah.
times, but it's basically like National Lampoon in the 70s made a magazine cover where it said, buy this magazine or we'll shoot this dog. And it's just got a revolver to the head of a dog. No one loves dogs more than me. And I love that cover because no one's killing the dog.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's preposterous that they would try to hold you hostage to buy their magazine that has such a horrific image on the front. That's why we're laughing. It's
Right.
funny. It's a
Right.
very funny thing. And people are like, that's awful. We shouldn't have. And it's like, no. You don't need to agree with it. But like humor just comes from this place of like, that's preposterous. Like Yosemite Sam is
We are
preposterous.
preposterous. Life is preposterous.
Right.
We are preposterous. That's why we laugh. We laugh at ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
And
think
that's
about
okay, you know.
romantic comedies, if you want to talk about that. Love is illogical. Like,
Oh, it's the things, I mean,
that's why it's such a great
some of the
subject.
things I've done for
Yeah.
it. Think about the stupid things I've done in my pursuits.
It's
you know?
there's no logic if we're
none.
grounded in reality.
No.
You know, like the most grounded in reality would be never leave your house because then no one can hurt you. Have food brought in so that you can't you'll never starve, and then find some weird sex robot to have sex with. Like that would be the most safe and logical. No diseases. You're not gonna whatever. And if you want to make a baby, then bring a real human in. But that's not a way to live.
Please,
we have to live.
let's please do not let that be our future.
It won't be. Yeah, I
Right.
do think that we're
Just
smarter than that.
please.
But that's the safest. That's the logical route.
Can
The
I
logic
say,
is stupid.
Fuck safe. I've never gone for the safe
Yeah,
route.
that's
don't
why I
like
love
it.
that you left Sydney and became
Yeah.
you did what you wanted to be doing.
Right,
It's genius.
right.
Wait, so the flight stuff, I want to know about that. Can you fly a plane now? Like if you were to go to
Yes.
really?
Yes.
How do you do? This is insane.
I'm a captain, so I can fly a lot of different airplanes. I've owned different ones throughout my life.
But how was that? How were you able to achieve learning how to do that while doing all this other stuff?
Just there's time in between movies, and you make a bunch of money, and then you have a year off, and then you make another bunch of money, and you have this like big gaps of time,
Right.
where you're able to fly around. I spent 1 year in this little private jet, just got flying all around the country just to have lunch and
That's awesome.
whatever.
Wow.
I feel like my Tesla's going to do that soon. They're
mean,
going
I
to give me an
flew- I-
update where I push a button and my Tesla just flies to his house.
That's
lands
not
on
too
the
far
road.
away.
I hope.
There's already a couple of prototypes that flying cars. There's all kinds of I love. There's nothing. It's very difficult to relax me. So for me to relax, it's either intravenous, it's either heroin, or I'm not joking. I don't really relax. I can
Yeah.
never sit down. Like it's killing me right now that
Do
I
you
have to
do
sit
yoga?
down. I try. Yeah, I try.
Yeah.
But when I'm at 40,000 feet in the air in a pressurized aluminum tube, it's very serene.
Yeah, you got nowhere to go.
But not only that, but there's no space to think about anything else. There's survival, and there's usually people that I love and care for
Yeah.
on board, and there is nothing else but this moment in time. Nothing else. There's no room for any worries. So in a way, it's like therapeutic. It's like doing yoga, where it's just very much, inside.
Yeah.
It's a very internal.
I think a big part of the reason I enjoy yoga so much, this sounds so stupid, is I can't be on my phone.
Well, you turn it off. Yeah.
Well, because like I'm always in this phone. Like all day. When they complain about kids always being in the phones, I'm who they're talking about. I'm in my phone all day. All my friends live in here. Games live in here. My career, my emails, my agents, everyone's in here. So I'm always on it. But with yoga, like I have to separate myself from it. And so like even at that level, I'm just not on my phone for an hour. It's a
love it,
nice,
yeah.
peaceful release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what flying is for me. It really is. It's just it's amazing, and it's a sense of accomplishment. You take off a heavy piece of equipment, you fly it somewhere, and you land it and park it and turn the engine off, and you're like, wow.
It's insane.
I just got to Vegas in 39 minutes
Yeah.
in this little rocket ship.
Well, and everybody talks about what the number one superhero power they'd want. Like 90% of people say fly.
right.
Yeah.
You can fly.
Or
I mean, I
teleport.
was one of those kids that was always,
flying.
Yeah.
I was one of those kids that was always like pretending to be an airplane
Yeah.
or model airplanes. I just burnt through so many computers and joysticks with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah,
No.
totally. Yeah.
So
Star Fox, that's about
I
the
mean,
only...
I used to spend so much money on Microsoft Flight. I mean, I have these mini cockpits in my house. My parents thought I was just insane. But that was my video game, you know, that was how
And now you're just doing
and
that.
I would like randomly
It's
show
insane.
my dad how I can take this 747, take off from Rome and land in London. And he'd be like, how do you know that? You know, and I'm just like, just love it. Just
I think that's
get to
insane.
know it. Just
Yeah.
get to know it.
And so now you're doing that. You wanted to make movies, you're doing that. You wanted to fly planes, you're doing that. What is there something else that you're trying, or you just want to enjoy doing these things? Has
I just
any
want to,
goal changed?
Yeah, I used to be very much about like having big homes and I was a very material kind of guy.
Mhm.
I'm very flashy. And now I think as I'm getting older, I'm an old man, right?
Well, no.
Well, yeah, I am. You have no idea how old I am.
I read it that you're 34.
Yeah, thank you. I love this guy. So, I want to just be I just want to fly around the world and not really be tied down anywhere. I just wanted to be on this constant vacation. And
That's a good way to live.
And I used to, my vision used to be have this big house and a
Sure.
big mausoleum and a mansion and all that kind
Dinosaur
of stuff.
bones.
And I'm just not interested in that. I've had all that.
Yeah.
I've had some incredible homes all throughout Los Angeles. I mean, I've had an amazing, trust me, I've tried everything in the world.
Right.
I don't, the next big batch of money I make, I'm not going to be buying those things again, you know?
It's great.
There'll be other things that I spend my money on.
Well, just the taxes, you know.
I'm into experience. Yeah, taxes, whatever. But I like to experience stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Travel for me is
How many places have you been to? How many countries?
pretty much everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
They,
I mean, there's some places in Africa I haven't been. There are very few places in the Middle East I haven't been. I haven't been to Iceland. So there's very few. I mean, I can count them. So
that's great.
you know,
Well, that's I think explains your entire perspective on connecting and that we're all the same. It's because you've seen the other place.
Right.
Whenever I talk to a bigot, it's generally because they've never left Montana or so. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know that the rest of the world is awesome.
There's a great book that I read as a young man and inspired me to become a film director. It was called Bliss. It was one of my first Australian films that I was proud of that we made as a country and that went to the Cannes Film Festival. And in it, this ad executive has cancer and is dying. And he was talking about what we're just talking about, the world, we're all the same. And he has this line, which I remind myself of all the time. And he says, we eat, we shit, we die. We're all the same.
Yeah.
And I really believe that. When you have that global kind of perspective, we really all want the same thing at the end of the day.
That's why I think it's annoying when people are like, well, I'm from New York, so, you know, I can't be bothered with hellos and goodbyes. You're like, when did you decide that because you're from a place, you're like, well, I'm from Jersey, so we don't mess around like that. You're like, you can mess around like that. It's okay. You don't have to like define yourself or stereotype yourself or put yourself in a box.
Right.
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
But the fundamentals of human beings are the same anywhere in the world. Wherever you travel, I can only speak for this planet. I don't know what else is out there. But
well, that'd be the best thing that could happen to our country.
I fly close to outer space sometimes with my.
You got to start hanging out with Elon Musk.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, that'd be a good pal to have.
Good friend.
Do you think we could hitch a ride to Mars?
Yeah,
like, sure. Come on.
You know that his plan for that is insanity. Like the plan would be,
he's not going to come back.
It takes 4 years there and 4 years back, and you can go. You'll be able to like buy it if you want to go. But here's the thing.
We don't know though.
Imagine 4 years with the same people, and that's just one direction. What if you go through a breakup or you have a fight or something? Like, forget about it. That's 4 years, and you still got to come home. That's 8 years.
What if you can't get home?
Oh, it's so scary.
What if you just what if something happens halfway across there, and you slowly will die of lack of oxygen?
Ugh. That part,
and then your
that
blood will boil.
Anything,
You know what happens in outer space? Like your blood boils and you explode. Like.
I saw it almost happened to Princess Leia. Almost. They got her back. It almost happened to Princess Leia, but then they like sucked her back in. But she was starting to get like crystalline.
No, you're right.
I was gonna say, the best thing that could happen to America, like our planet, in my opinion, is if aliens attack, because it would be the first time that all the countries are like, hey, why are we trying to kill
like
each other. Like, can we?
It
Yeah, it'd
would
be the best thing that could ever happen.
It would be the best thing. It would be all of a sudden. It'll be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I love all you guys. Like, we are all together in this.
Yeah,
now.
we've been
Like-
getting mad at North Korea when we could just, maybe stick
look at this,
together.
and then it'll be like, wow, look at that. Everyone would literally look at that and go, wow, we have this good. We need to like.
Yeah, common enemy is unfortunately the only way we could all
I
unite.
think that's a great idea. Let's get onto that. That
saying.
might fix every problem.
What's the craziest thing you believe in? Do you like aliens or like I'm a big Bigfoot guy, which everybody thinks is so stupid. But
Sasquatch is that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
do you have any like crazy I believe
Believe
chemtrails or I believe our
no, I don't
phones?
believe in chemtrails. I'm a pilot. I know what they are. They're contrails. They have nothing to do with chemtrails. They don't exist.
See, look,
So it's
myth
finished.
busted.
Busted. No, I want to believe in extraterrestrial life because it's just unfathomable to me when you think about the size of it.
Yeah,
That there's this little dot here.
yeah, we're
'Cause
nothing.
We're literally like a fingernail in like, it's so small.
Yeah.
And so there has to be. I also believe, I don't know, I kind of have this thing that somebody must know something.
Oh yeah. Well, I just watched a documentary about a guy who was hired by the government to reverse engineer UFO ships from
Right.
Roswell or whatever, and his thing. And then when they did research on him, they couldn't find any record of the school that he
Right.
went to or the place that he claimed hired him, all this different stuff. But then you go through, they reinvestigate it, just through him, all of it's there.
Right.
And he's like, someone just went in and erased all my information. That's all
Yeah.
it is, because they thought I was talking shit on the thing. But when he starts describing jet propulsion, because that's how he got the job, is he's one of the best jet propulsion guys in the world. He started describing the best he could what he was reverse engineering, and he's like, "Oh, we'll never make it. We'll never be able to make it. Humans will never be able to make what we witnessed."
Right.
And they're like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because we don't know. We can't. We don't even know how to." We don't even understand gravity, let alone how to manipulate it. And this whole documentary is like, yeah, this the way those spaceships move is it manipulates gravity around it, so it can move very fast. And he's describing it, and you're like, yeah, this guy's super smart.
I just feel like our heads would explode the day
Yeah.
that there's just aliens and all this stuff. How do we even
It'd be great.
comprehend it?
It would.
you know?
It would be. I think, and
Be
that's probably
overload.
why I think. That's why I think that if any governments know of this stuff, because it would be such a profound. It would profoundly change everything we know.
Yeah, imagine their religion. Be like, oh, I guess that's not.
Everything that we know, every war we've ever
Yeah.
fought. Think about all the things that we've done as human beings. It will all be for what? It's a what the F moment.
Don't you think it'd be better though? Couldn't it help or no? I don't know. I feel
don't
like it'd make
know.
me happy. I'd be like, look, we're all.
There's nowhere to run though if we discover that. You're just I don't know.
But they could say you don't have to run. They've been here since the '60s. Everything's
They're
fine.
amongst us.
You've made it
Yeah.
this fine. Yeah, you're fine. I don't know.
Anyway,
That's for another episode when we have an alien on.
yeah. Actually,
What-
I know a few aliens. I could,
Yeah, put them on here.
Yeah.
Just a Zeta Reticulan just sitting there, clicking.
I've met a few aliens in our business over the years.
I believe that.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
tell.
all I'm gonna say.
You can tell me
on that.
those names after we
Yeah.
cut the mics.
When we cut them.
What do you have anything you want to plug or anything promote? This comes out in a few weeks.
Yeah. No. Just
Go see the movie.
just go see Wedding Year. You'll see Mr. Di in it. He's
Yeah.
awesome. Very funny scene.
When does the movie come out, or do we know?
Don't know.
Yeah. How does that process work? They just tell you after a thing.
Yeah, once they've made deals with distributors and they've worked out what who knows? I mean, I try and stay out of that.
Yeah,
Sort
that
of stuff,
process.
right? Because I have enough processes going on right now, as you know.
Yeah.
Did you come in for ADR? Yeah, you did.
Nope.
Right? You haven't. We
No,
haven't done
but-
any ADR for you.
No,
We don't need to because you're perfect.
nailed it. Yeah, nailed it. Pretty easy. A lot of facial expressions. Anna has, and Grace Hilbig, I guess.
Yeah,
is
Grace
what it is.
Hilbig,
She's
yeah.
a good pal of mine.
Okay, you guys know each other.
Yeah, I had her on Money from Strangers, one of my first TV shows. We had her on a few times. She was at the time dating our head writer,
Okay.
Scotty, and then since then we just kept in touch. She also loves pro wrestling, so I would see her at the pro wrestling things, and she's fun.
So do you like doing movies, Joe?
Yeah, it was a lot of waiting
Right.
but here's the thing, I just didn't know.
Right.
And I'm like you, I don't like to sit still. So I
Right.
would leave the trailer, and then this sweet girl whose job is to kind of keep tabs on it, she's
Yeah.
like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna grab
It's
a
been
coffee.
4 hours and I just want to grab a coffee.
And then she's like, no,
we'll get you one.
I'll bring you a coffee. And I was like, I know, but I don't mind. And she's like, I know, but because I was trying to understand that process.
Her job, right, is to keep her eyes on you at all times. So we have these assistant directors and they wait at where all the trailers are.
Mm-hmm.
And their job is to keep eyes on you. So if I decide that all of a sudden I need to do a shot with Jeff again, it's on her to know exactly where you are at any time. But it's even worse for me. I have 2 or 3 people following me constantly. So if I need to go take a shit, they know and they report it. Robert's in the toilet. He's been there 4 minutes. Like, it's literally that. Sometimes it's like, leave me the fuck alone.
I felt like there was like 4 or 5 people talking to you at all times.
At all times.
Like they were always telling you stuff.
It's 3 months of just being followed. It's like I have like, a team of Scientologists following me.
Yeah,
It's
just harassing you. Want to come in here?
Yeah.
Hey, come in and take this test.
It's really weird. And they're all on walkie-talkies and they're all like following me and knowing all about my bowel movements, what I ate. And they'll be like, he's at Crafty again. I'm like, would you shut up? You have to report it.
Yeah.
He's getting legumes. I think he likes legumes.
Right. Just leave me alone.
Well, I enjoyed the process. I think the most intimidating part for me, like when I audition or when I'm on a project, is I like kind of what you spoke about earlier. I want to be prepared really badly. And so I would watch like a movie with someone and I go, how does this person remember all these lines? And then after doing it,
how do you remember your routine, right?
Well, those are my own thoughts. I've never forgot how I felt about something.
But that's what a performer does. That's what an actor does. You make it your thoughts. Mm-hmm. It becomes part of you become a character and you speak the way that character would.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's the thing is like, I realized by being there, it's like, oh, you do it scene by scene.
Right. It's all broken down into the sections.
Like she can go from scene 1 to the end of the movie and tell you all those. Unless she doesn't have.
We don't film it like a play on a stage. Right.
So that made me be like, I want to do this bad because this is great. Not only could I do the stuff that I prepared, but then go, hey, do you mind if I try it like this? And then we'll get like 75 jokes, like just different ones, and you decide which one you like. Right. And I think that's such an exciting idea.
And on wedding year, we shot the end of the movie on day 3 of shooting, so we're already
which can be tough too because you gotta like
match
not
the way
for me.
It
So I mean, if you're inexperienced, I think it's tough. But for me, I don't care what order you're shooting. The assistant directors and the producers were like, do you care? I'm like, just have a set there for me and I'll turn up.
Yeah, whatever the location
whatever
approves.
it is, just like I'll
and you guys shot at some beautiful locations. Like those are fun places to be.
Right.
At least the 2 places I was at. Well, one was like in Burbank area, but then the other one was in Malibu.
Malibu, yeah.
God, it was stunning.
Wait, what did we do in Burbank? Oh, we did the toilet scene.
Yeah, where
Anna's puking. We also did something in ADR now. I can't say. We also did something in the area where it's coming out both ends now. So it's really fun. Just after you leave, the scene, she says something to Sarah Hyland's character, and then she turns around and says, oh my God, it's coming out the other end. And she sits down and there's some awesome sound effects. So
I love it.
So we're just icing your scene there.
Yeah, but I think film for sure is something that I want to do full time, and theater has become the new like. How are they remembering?
Well,
all
I will
this?
keep my eye out for you on my next.
I would love that. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for doing
this. Much bigger budget.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this. This makes me so happy. I'm
so
excited that people will.
It was fun. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
I think there's a lot here. You just on not to sound mushy or whatever, but just like. They could learn from what you're saying. Like, why be safe? Go do what you love.
Just go, take a risk, put yourself out there. The worst thing that can happen, guys and gals, is someone will say no. So you just pick yourself up and you go to the next one. It's just a no. It means nothing.
Yeah, marriage is risky. Life is risky. Jobs are risky. Getting in your car is risky.
Have a dream. First of all, is work out what it is. Step 1. Step 2. Find out what steps you need to achieve it. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And remember, no one's just going to come and knock on your door and go, hey, Jeff, do you want to be a comedian?
Yeah.
No, Jeff made himself a comedian, Make it happen.
I'm leaving it at that.
Take care, everyone.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Bye.
Friendship.
How great was that episode? Robert, what a guy. Did I not? I told you in the beginning how great that was going to be. And I'm right. It was freaking awesome. He's a pilot. He went to film school. He made his own little short, got famous, doing all these movies with all these big people. He even gets along with Katherine Heigl, which I've heard is impossible in this business. Robert, big thank you for being on the podcast. I love you, man. You're the best. I hope to work with you again many more times at Show Business, and if not, at least hang out and get drinks and be cool. You're a good man. Love you, buddy. Yeah, like I said, if you want to watch this episode, you just gave it a listen, you'd think, I think I'd like to watch it or know what this guy looks like. Go to patreon.com/Jeff Dye. Subscribe over there. It's $10 a month. You get a ton of good stuff. Or if you're listening on iTunes, thank you. Or Podbean or Revolver, wherever you're listening. We love you guys. Thanks for being a part of our weekly routine. We love you guys. Peace.